Matt Bracken, what do you make of the situation where we're currently at? Because you've been accurately predicting this, and they are really gearing up for it, and it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, the left-wing mainstream media is absolutely instigating it. You could almost say stage managing it, you know, with the help from the Democrats in Congress. Gateway Pundit has a great story up today about the New York Times article in April 12th this year.
I saw that yesterday where they advertised where they are and that there's not much security.
Right. So for a guy like Hodgkinson, who left Illinois as a killer, you know, he left Illinois to get in striking range of his enemies so that he can be the John Brown of the new resistance, the John Brown of the new Civil War. Obviously, he would have no luck with a white, van parked outside of the White House. But the New York Times handed him the information. This is where to go, where they'll have very minimal security. It said, you know, that maybe some Capitol Police sitting in a black SUV at the ballpark. Well, that gives you another, 350 degrees of a big fenced-in area away from the black SUV where you can take your shots from. So clearly he, I'm sure that if the FBI, they were doing their job, they would have the cookies on his computers and his smartphones would show that he had read this article, probably, saved the article. And that's why he was living at that YMCA out of his van, keeping an eye on that park. So the New York Times should get an assist on this hit. They absolutely should get credit for it.
Sure, I mean, they were the intel office.
And it's so ironic because the paragraph above the paragraph where it says, that they are practicing at this field, it said, well, security officials are very cautious about giving out details because they, say it could compromise security. And in the next paragraph, the New York Times says, wink, wink. But if you really wanted to get a bunch of congressmen without much security, here's where you would do it. And sure enough, that's where Hodgkinson went to shoot these guys.
What do you make of even CNN's Wolf Blitzer going to a person they interview, so it's prepared, and they admit they're going to this clip, and he says he wasn't a monster, he wasn't evil, he was just upset about politics, and then Blitzer just pretty much agrees with him. I mean, don't they understand that if this kicks off, that they are asking for it? I mean, what is Blitzer going to do if somebody walks up, God forbid, and pumps rounds into his head when he's and just says, hey, this is just, sorry, Blitzer, it's just politics, no big deal.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, CNN, we know what they are, but going back to the New York Times for a moment before we get to the Washington Post, the other fingers of this machine. The New York Times today is blaming Sarah Palin for yesterday.
That's right.
They're going back to they weren't even crosshairs, they were surveyors' marks. The congressional district thing. The guy down in Arizona, he was a lunatic that had been planning to kill, like a Robert De Niro taxi driver kind of character.
Sure, he took hallucinogens every day, according to his friends. It was in another world.
And he had been planning it for years, way before, he didn't even know who Sarah Palin was.
And he was a devil worshiper. He was a devil worshiper, had a devil worship altar in his backyard. Exactly. And I predicted this yesterday, that they would blame the Gabby Giffords thing and say, oh, you Republicans are this. No, the difference is Republicans weren't saying, go out and kill Democrats. That's the difference.
And not only that, imagine if Fox News or Breitbart or InfoWars had done an article on Hillary Clinton's security. And in this article about Hillary Clinton's security, mentioned, let's say, a tennis club she liked to go to with only a close friend.
Exactly. Oh, here's where Hillary, goes once a week to play bridge, right here at the corner of this. There's not much security. There'll just be one car. So if you just come into the alley, you can get her right there.
It's Paul Joseph Watson, and the T-shirt has finally arrived. Nothing triggers safe space snowflakes more than this slogan and my face. It is the new T-shirt from InfoWarsStore.com. Conservatism is the new counterculture. You've seen how much this triggers the safe space snowflakes. The left controls culture. They control arts. They control entertainment. They have the complete monopoly on culture, which is why conservatism is the new counterculture. We are striking back in the culture war. This triggers snowflakes like nothing you've ever seen in your life. You've seen how much they absolutely hate the image of my face and that particular slogan, conservatism is the new counterculture. This t-shirt is not only a conversation starter, it will trigger the holy hell out of leftists. It will make me incredibly happy. It's available right now. Get yours at InfoWarsStore.com.